Fairy Tail is back, and I was wrong. My assumption was that after both sides of Horatio Sec and Horatio Seis eliminate certain members, what remains will then have a battle royale between them. But that's not what happened. Instead, a third party jumped in. But we'll get to that at the end of the chapter. At the start, it is the fight between Zero and Midnight. Zero is being Zero, saying he doesn't really care about Midnight, he doesn't have any interest in fighting him, all he cares about is destroying Fairy Tail. And so he basically just wants his son to go away so he can go kill Natsu and the rest. But obviously, Midnight's not going to let that happen, and so they engage in their fight. Midnight tries to crush Zero's right arm with his spiral magic, but it looks like Zero is able to muscle through it like it was nothing, which isn't normally what happens, because it's not like his spiral magic is crushing you directly. What it does is it spirals inanimate objects, like your clothing, and then he uses your clothing infused with his magic to crush Zero's right arm. But somehow Zero is able to flex out of it and prevent himself from being crushed. He then counterattacks Midnight with his darkness magic, and Midnight blocks it. Unfortunately, Zero is the one who taught Midnight how to fight. As such, he knows how to counter everything Midnight's doing and starts to overwhelm him. But it's clear Midnight has been training long after Brain was dead and then resurrected, because he shows him something new that Zero didn't see coming. Using his spiral magic, Midnight is able to enchant Brain's darkness magic onto his own arm, and then punch him like Natsu does with his flames. So Midnight's attack is basically one of Natsu's Iron Dragon Fist, but instead it's a mixture of Zero's magic and Midnight's spiral magic. Of course, this just makes Zero even more pissed, because it reminds him of Natsu's magic, because that's clearly where Midnight got the idea from. Unfortunately, even this attack doesn't seem to have full effect against Zero. Apparently, Midnight doesn't have complete mastery of darkness magic. Of course, he doesn't seem to mind this. In fact, Midnight seems to be quite happy that he doesn't have to rely on darkness magic anymore, because he's no longer, well, evil. He's actually a good man now, because he learned a whole new kind of magic. Zero then uses Genesis Zero to erase Midnight from existence, but this is something that Midnight was waiting for. He finally reveals his new magic. It's a type of purification magic. It's able to purify all things, including the dead. And so all of Zero's magic, which is basically the souls of the dead, are completely purified and sent on to the afterlife. And Zero himself begins to be purified because he's a demon, so he's about to be sent off to hell himself. But unfortunately, Zero isn't stupid. He realizes he can't beat this, and so he decides to relinquish control over to his original personality, Brain. In a physical fight, Brain is nowhere near as strong as Zero. It's like night and day in their power levels. But Brain is actually quite intelligent. That's why he's called Brain, and he has an understanding of magic that Zero never will have. And like a computer programmer, he's able to break down Midnight's purification magic and completely just turn it off and erase it. Now, Brain and Zero do not like each other. That's why Brain sealed Zero away for years. But it was Cobra and the rest of Horatio Seis that betrayed and killed him. So I have a feeling he probably hates them more than he hates Zero. Not just that, but he also probably doesn't want to die at this moment either. So of course he would help Zero. So I'm not surprised by this. What I'm surprised by is the fact that Zero then immediately didn't even give a chance for Brain to do anything else. He just took back the body and didn't even seem to give two shits that Brain even helped him. Didn't even thank the man as he took the body back over. So that just sucks for Brain, but whatever. He then activates Dark Gravity and just throws Midnight into a hole. Okay, that is incorrect. What he does, he activates Gravity and crushes Midnight into a hole. I kind of underplayed that for a second, because he technically used Midnight's body to create the hole. So yeah, Midnight has just been defeated. Gate is mostly happy with the results because they defeated 4 of them. He's surprised that 2 of the demons were defeated, but still, Horatio Seis is basically about to be crushed and eliminated. No big deal. He then checks on Meredy to see if she's been fully digested by his gate. She hasn't. And he's like, oh wow, I'm impressed that you have such life force inside of you. And the hands from the gate start grabbing her again. She's begging for him to stop, but obviously he does not care. And right before she gets dragged back in to be killed, she is then saved by Juvia. So what is Juvia doing here? Well, the funny thing is, because Meredy linked Juvia that one time all the way back on Tendril Island, she is now permanently linked to Meredy's magic. And so she was able to hear the conversation Meredy had with the rest of Horatio Seis. But here's the thing. That means anyone who's ever been connected to Meredy's magic has now the ability to just spy on Meredy when she's having a conversation with her magic. First off, that's kind of disturbing. It means Meredy can never have peace in a conversation with someone else using her magic. That kind of sucks. But more importantly, do you know who else was linked to her magic before and should have been able to hear the entire conversation, what's going on with demons? And the Horatio says Jalal, because Jalal has been linked with Meridy's magic before. It happened in the Grand Magic Games. So if Juvia had the ability to listen in and get here because of that, then Jalal should have been able to listen in the entire time as well, and he should have come as well. So the fact that Jalal isn't here is either a plot hole, or it means he's going to show up later in the story. And I say it's a plot hole because there's no way in hell Jalal would allow Meridy to go off on her own. He kind of became her big brother, guardian, and is the primary person who protects her from bad things. I can't imagine he would just let her die. It made sense before because she didn't inform him, but if he's able to listen just because he was once linked to her, then yeah, he should be here. Of course, Juvia isn't dumb. She decided to ask for help, specifically from Fairytale Team B, basically. So Juvia is going to fight Gate. Elfman is going to fight Gaia. Yeah, it's going to be a big man versus another big man. Mary Jane is going to take on Demania, and Gajil is going to take on Zero. Originally, Zero was like, oh god, I don't want to deal with you. I want to kill that mark on your shoulder. Yeah, so Zero finally got motivation to fight. Of course, now that the majority of Fairytale Team B is here, it makes me wonder if both Kana and Loxus are also here, but instead of fighting these demons, they went off to fight with the dragons. Of course, that's what I'm hoping, because if the rest of Team B is here, well, then why wouldn't those two be here? But maybe they were just left at the kill to protect everyone, because they were the only two strong people left. But I suppose we'll just wait and see. So if you enjoy this video, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up so you enjoy more Fairytale and other things. Thank you, and have a great day.